Good evening, everyone. We're going to start in 1 minute from now so that we can allow all the attendees to join. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar. I'm sorry, due to a technical error, I'll not be able to turn on my camera. I'm sorry for that. In today's world, financial modeling is no longer a luxury. It has become a vital skill. It truly changes the way you think about business, about strategy, and about making sound decisions. Our goal for tonight is to make financial modeling feel clear, accessible, and more empowering. And by the end of this session, you will see that financial modeling is not about memorizing formulas, but it's about understanding the story behind the numbers. And during the webinar, we appreciate if you keep your microphones muted to avoid any echoes. And at the end of the session, at the end of the webinar, we're gonna have time for the Q&A so that we can answer all of your questions. My name is Anis Yazbek, the Business Director of Morgan International Canada, and I'll be the moderator of this webinar. And I'm proud to welcome you again and to welcome the FMI board members joining us today. More specifically, I'm very pleased to introduce our main speaker for tonight, Mr. Ian Schnoor. Ian holds the CFA title and he's the executive director of the FMI, the Financial Modeling Institute, the world's only financial modeling accreditation body. He's also the creator of the CFA Institute's Financial Modeling Practical Skills module used in the CFA program. And earlier in his career, Ian worked as an investment banker, and over the years, he has trained thousands of professionals. And above all, he is a passionate person for education with more than 20 years of financial modeling experience. Before I hand him the microphone, please allow me to brief you shortly about Morgan International so that you get to know more about us. Morgan International was founded in 1995, which is almost 30 years ago in Lebanon. And from that location, through the professionalism and dedication, Morgan grew organically. And we are currently spread internationally in Europe, in India, in the Middle East, and in Canada as well since 2009. We do have more than 350 certified faculty instructors who are experts in the education field, and our portfolio consists of more than 150,000 candidates and alumni, and more than 500 organizations that we dealt with across the past 30 years, be it banks, government entities, and universities. And of course, we are the partners of the leading international course providers. We offer a wide variety of certifications that are not only limited to accounting and finance, but we also provide certifications related to HR, to supply chain management, and digital marketing, which are delivered through multiple study formats, be it workshops, live online, live classes, or in-house trainings. And today we will be talking about another branch from our portfolio, which is the financial modeling. Our corporate network is really huge and well diversified. In Canada specifically, we can speak about CIBC Mellon, RBC, Scotiabank, MNP, almost all the universities and colleges, the Big Four and the Big 20, and many other companies and SMEs, be it local or multinationals. So that was a quick brief about who we are and what we do. And without any further delay, I'm going to hand the steering wheel over to Ian as he takes us on a deep dive into the world of financial modeling. Ian, the floor is yours and good luck.
Well, thank you. The steering wheel. Wow, I'm impressed. That's great. And that was a beautiful intro. Anis, thanks so much for the great welcoming words. I'm going to share my screen here. I'm excited to be here with all of you tonight. Give me a second as I set up my screen and get I can see all of you when I look over my shoulder like this. I can see all of you. And I've also opened up the chat. Now, if you have never been in a webinar with me, you're going to quickly learn. I like to keep things interactive. I want to keep you engaged and interacting with me the entire time. So first of all, there's a great big group of you here. Fantastic. Can you give me a quick thumbs up if you can hear okay, if you can see okay, you can see my screen and hear everything. Give me a quick thumbs up. Yes, I like it. What else? I want to see some more. Beautiful. Awesome. That means I know you can do it. The second thing is the and I see a question already. Will the presentation be shared? Yes. I'm going to be sharing with you the presentation and my notes. I'm going to be taking some notes and a model. All the files that I'm sharing with you, you're gonna get afterwards. So that's all good, yours to have. Second question, get ready to start typing. I'd like you to go in the chat, please, because Anis said good evening when he started, but I've learned that in some of these great webinars, we've got people joining from all over the world, probably not just in North America. So I would love to know where you are all joining from. I'm here in Toronto, Canada. We've got Vancouver. Where else are you all joining from? Oh, Brights Grove, Ontario. Okay, a lot of. So I thought there'd be a lot of North America, Canada, fantastic. Canada, Toronto, Halifax. All right, is it? But I had a sense that there might be people all over the world. There we go. You're Alexandria is in Switzerland. Fantastic. Switzerland, what is it? It's midnight. I'm so impressed that someone's joining. Alexandria, you're joining in midnight in Switzerland. Good stuff. We got Calgary, Whitehorse, Yukon, right? Amit's in Whitehorse. Fantastic. Quebec, Winnipeg. Grace is in Winnipeg. That's where I'm from. Grace, I'm going to be visiting in a couple of weeks. All right, we're all spread out across Canada. Fantastic. Mostly across Canada. I love it. No, great. Well, I love working. I love doing. I mean, I've been running sessions like this all over the world. This afternoon we did a session for 1,000 people in the United States, and early this morning I did a session for a group overseas, in the Caribbean. So we're constantly running sessions all over the world. Let's dive right in then. I want to talk about modeling and share with you some tips and best practices here. Today, we've got an hour till 7. Well, it's 6 o'clock Eastern in Toronto. We will go till 7 o'clock. You heard about me. My whole life and career has been focused in financial modeling through all the work that I've done. Currently heading up FMI. And as Anis said, we're the world's only financial modeling accreditation organization where people really work hard to become an excellent financial modeler and then go through our series of exams. The first one is the AFM. It's not multiple choice. It's a proctored 4-hour exam where you have to build a model from scratch. That means you got to do a lot of work to practice in advance, and that is what turns you into an excellent modeler. If you'd like to keep up with what I'm doing, you're welcome to check out my LinkedIn page. I'm often posting comments, articles, and things like that on LinkedIn. So happy to connect with you there. I wanted to go into some modeling tools and best practices, but I don't want to spend any more time in PowerPoint here. This is a modeling session, so we're going to spend the rest of the session in Excel. We're going to look at a model here together, and I'm going to show you some great tips. How many of you like using Excel and enjoy Excel tips and keyboard shortcuts? I'm looking at you right now. Give me a thumbs up or thumb if you enjoy. There we go. A new Excel. All right. I'm going to try and show you a couple of new tips and skills. And if you've got questions, oh, it's like a stampede of thumbs overtaking my screen. If you've got questions, I'm happy to show you some other things as well. Let's dive right in. Financial modeling is a discipline, and the discipline is becoming even more interesting because starting 3 months ago, 3 months ago only, which is actually February of 2026, that's when AI agents became good at building models. Not great, not perfect, but good. So I keep getting asked, are we going to need modeling skills now that AI is here and doing modeling? And after playing around and talking with a lot of bankers and modelers around the world, my answer is yes, you will need modeling skills, maybe even more, maybe even better than ever. Because instead of building all the formulas by yourself, you're going to have to be able to check and review and audit and iterate and interact with an AI generated model. And that might be harder than building. You might be quicker, but there might be more. Sometimes AI does some really funky things. So modeling skills are not going away, as Anis mentioned. And let's take a look at some stuff here together. So I'm going to open up a notes file. We are also going to look at a financial model here together. I will share both of these files with you when the webinar is over. So there are 5 things that I'd like to try and touch on very quickly over the next hour. They're the idea of design. We're going to talk about some model design in flow, optimal flow. We're going to talk about managing inputs and assumptions in a model. We're going to talk about managing risk and volatility through a scenario page. We're going to talk about 2 critical ideas at the very end called repeat and link, build it and link it if we have time permitting. And if we don't get to them, I've done this webinar. There are other you can take a look at online. There are videos that people have posted on these topics that you can check out. But hopefully, I'll get to all of this. So my first question is, how many people here have ever opened up a spreadsheet that you didn't build? And it was some sort of a model, some sort of a tool. You opened up a spreadsheet, you didn't build it, and you thought to yourself, oh my God, I will never understand this Excel file for the rest of my life. How many of you have ever had that experience where you opened up a file that you didn't build and thought, holy cow, what is going on in this crazy Excel world? Yeah, look at all those thumbs. Oh my gosh, you can't even see. Yeah, that happens a lot. That happens a lot, too much. And that is not optimal. That should not happen. That is a telltale sign of a poorly built, poorly designed model. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault if you don't understand it perfectly. It should have been built better than that. So let's talk about what a model is quickly. I know some of you have built models and others of you have not, but let's dive right in. So when I say what is a financial model, any spreadsheet, in theory, any spreadsheet could be considered a financial model. That's sort of a large definition. But in the world of accounting and corporate finance, we have a much more narrow definition. And when people talk about a model, they typically mean a forecast, some sort of a forecast, usually of a company's financial statements in a spreadsheet. That's it. So we're building a forecast either of a business or a division or a whole company into the future. 5 to 10 years is the most common range. We call this the model's periodicity. Some people forecast less, some people forecast more. Some projects, some industries will do 20-year, 30-year models, but the most common is 5 to 10 years. The bigger question is why. So why is forecasting become so critical? And it's simply because models have become the most important decision-making tools in all of finance. Full stop. Full stop. There's no second. Models are the most important decision-making tool in all of finance, and they are used to make so many critical business decisions. So for those of you who have built forecasts or have worked with forecasts, with models, what types of decisions? I want to see you in the chat. So I'm going to give you 2 seconds to go to the chat. What kinds of decisions, please type them in. What kinds? I've got a list of about 8 or 9 items here, but before I show you mine, I want to hear from you. What kind of decisions have you guys been involved with forecast models? What do we have here? We've got here, good. Alan says budgeting, love it. Future purchases, great. Pricing list, Salim, excellent. Yeah, going concern analysis, great. That's great. Join mine plans, sure. In mining, ROIs, growth, love it. Margins, M&A, mergers and acquisitions, right? Udit, assumptions, beautiful. DCF analysis, Awesome. I love all of this. Great, great, great. All your comments are excellent. So you're absolutely right. It just shows you the very wide range of decisions people make with financial models. So what types of decisions? I don't think anyone here typed in credit. Did anyone type in credit? I'm looking back here. Not really. One of the most common decisions people make with models are credit decisions. Can a company handle more debt? Investment decisions, buying and selling, research forecasts, right? Anyone who works in research, whether it's equity research or debt research, building forecasts, valuation, right? Doing DCF, doing security analysis is based off forecast models, mergers and acquisitions, M&A. Leverage buyouts, LBO analysis is based off models. And then lots of operational decisions, budgeting decisions are based off our models. Risk management. There are so many types of decisions we make with yeah, I love it. Joan says compliance with NASDAQ. Perfect. So many reasons. So it sounds simple, right? Would you agree? It sounds pretty easy. All we need is build a forecast. All we have to do is take the historicals and build a forecast. But there's a problem. The problem is that most financial models are a mess. And you know that because you already agreed with me. You already said that you've seen spreadsheets and you think, oh my God, how am I supposed to understand this? Well, that's because most people don't do a very good job. Their models are a mess. They're sloppy. They're filled with errors. They're hard to understand. And that means that it's difficult to use them to make decisions. So now you know what we're talking about. I'm going to show you some great tips to build a very clean, organized forecast model. But before I do that, I want to give you the punchline. I want to give you a key takeaway, a punchline. How do you know? How do you know if your Excel model is working well? How do you know if you should be proud of it, if it's working well, if it's a really strong, powerful tool? It has to work in two very different ways. Two ways. Number one, electronically in your Excel file. Every single formula must make sense. So as an example, imagine I was in a model now. If I clicked on different cells, click, if I was to click on and looked at a bunch of formulas, I should be able to say, yep, okay, I understand that formula. Yep, I understand. Yep. Every formula should be clean and I should be able to understand it. And as you know, that does not happen all the time. So a model has to work well electronically and as a PDF or on paper. Why? Because there are still lots and lots of people that want to make a decision based on looking at the PDF or a printout, not get into the Excel file. It happens a lot. I will also tell you, even if you never use a PDF or a paper version of your model, there's something still very, very beneficial about making your model printable, because when you do that, it allows the model will communicate better, even as an Excel file. So it is very, very important. Now, what you're really hearing me say is this. What I'm really telling you is that a good financial model has to be much, much more than just a calculator. It's not just a calculator. It has to tell a story. It has to be a powerful communication tool. It has to tell a story. And more than that, when you become very good at financial modeling is one of the all-time greatest leadership development tools. Because someone who can build a model, what that means is you're not just a spreadsheet jockey. A good modeler is someone who knows how to ask questions, who can find the right people, who can do research, who can design a spreadsheet well, who can plan it, build it, and communicate the results. That's what a strong modeler does, and whoever can do that becomes in very, very high demand. So let's go take a look at the model here. The model I want to share with you today is this one, and we'll send it to you after. This is the model called the Henderson Manufacturing Model. This is a manufacturing company. This is the sample model. This is the sample model that we use at FMI as one of our example models for any of our candidates in the AFM program for the Advanced Financial Modeling Accreditation. People work really hard until they can build a model like this from scratch. The ability to build a model like this from scratch is extremely important. And I will show you, if you're curious, on the AFM exam, for anyone considering it, on the exam, all you're given is 3 years of historical financials. You get 3 years of an income statement, 3 years of a cash flow statement, and 3 years of the balance sheet. That's it. That's it. That's all people get on an exam. And they have worked really hard in the weeks before that, because on the exam, you're given this and a case study. And between the case study and the historicals, your job is to build a beautiful best-in-class model. We like to see a cover sheet. It sets the stage. The model has a nice executive summary. Now, in this model, I'm showing the values under a base case, the best case, and under the worst case. And you can see here that with the base case, my client wanted to see revenues and revenue growth, EBITDA, net income. That's it. So I have these values with a base, a best, and a worst. I'll talk more about this after the summary page. So I have an executive summary. After that, we have an assumption sheet that has all the inputs in the model. You can see pricing assumptions, cost assumptions, interest rate assumptions on the debt. All the assumptions are laid out in a nice, organized way. There are capital expenditure assumptions, working capital assumptions. All the assumptions are nicely organized right up front. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. There's a scenarios page. The scenario page has a base case, a best and a worst case, and a switch. And I'm going to show you how to build this. I can run a base case. I can run a best case. I can run a worst case. And I can play with my model under different permutations, different outlooks, different possibilities for the future. And then finally, I've got the actual model here, the formulas I've got with a revenue schedule. And as I scroll down, the cost forecast is next, all the operating costs. And underneath that is a 5-year forecast for the income statement, and a 5-year forecast for the cash flow statement, and a forecast for the balance sheet. You get the idea. I'm showing this to you because I hope that as you look at this, I hope that when you're looking at this model, you feel, hey, that looks pretty nice. I hope you feel like you'd enjoy playing with it and opening it and trying it, because you should. It's intended to feel accessible and manageable. That creates a lot of confidence for your client when they open it and it feels like it is a manageable, usable file. Now, I just told you that a model also has to work well as a PDF or on paper. What if your client wanted to see it as a PDF or on paper? Well, if I was to print it, if I was to press Control P and print it, this is what it would look like first of all, you can see a print preview here. It looks nice. And if I was to print this model as a paper tool, this is what it would look like. Here's my PDF. It's 15 pages long. And if I was to send it to my client as a PDF, look what I have. Once again, I've got the cover sheet. It looks nice, feels like a presentation. An executive summary that's got all the summary answers, my inputs and assumptions. I'm going to talk about why in just a moment. After that is a scenario page with the base, the best, the worst case. And then we get into all the schedules, the revenues, the costs, the income statement. But what I want you to notice is this. Do you notice that every page has a title and a subtitle? Do you notice every page has page numbers? Did you notice that the font is the same and it's the same size on every page? That there's the same amount of space on each side? These are very deliberate decisions that make the user and the reader feel like this is a professional communication tool. And that's what's going to get you a lot of confidence from your client. But what I will tell you is this type of a model does not happen by accident. It happens as a result of strong planning, because the model's flow is so important. A good modeler spends no more than half of their time in Excel working on formulas. The rest of it is spent doing the research, communicating, talking to people. So what is that optimal flow? I'm going to share this with you after, but what is this optimal flow we talked about? Well, all good models should start with a cover page because it makes it feel like a financial presentation. You would never build a PowerPoint deck without a cover. So make sure your Excel files also have a cover. It is your presentation. It sets the stage. It only takes 5 minutes, but it gives people a lot of confidence. And what I will tell you is the next thing is we want to always see is a summary, an executive summary. So many models do not have this, but it's very important. It sets the stage. I promise you, the first thing your client always wants to know about a model is, what's the answer? What is the answer? You could include charts, you could include graphs on this page, but you have to show your client what is the answer, and it must be customized for your deal, your project, your client, whatever they need to see to make a decision. Now, what was next in terms of flow? The next thing we want to design is the assumption page. All the assumptions. Why? Because I promise you, after you show people this summary, the next thing that they want to know is, how did you get there? How did you get there? What decisions did you make to get your answers? And if you don't have this, has anyone ever, can you raise your hands? Has anyone ever seen a spreadsheet model that had many sheets, and on every sheet there were some formulas here and then some inputs, and then down in row 800 there were more inputs and more formulas? Has anyone ever seen a model, a spreadsheet, where the assumptions were scattered everywhere, every sheet, every area? Raise your hand if you've seen that. Yes, so many thumbs going up. That's not optimal. And I feel sorry if you've had to struggle with that. It's not optimal. It's very difficult to update a model when the assumptions are everywhere, and it's very hard to communicate a model when the assumptions are everywhere, because the client wants to know, how did you get there? I'm going to show you an excellent Excel skill in just a moment, so you make sure that they're up front. Then we're going to include the scenarios so we can manage uncertainty, and then is the engine, all the calculations. Optimal model flow is so critical. I've said this many times and people have asked me about it. The number one reason that financial models fail is because of poor design. There's no close second. The number one reason financial models fail is because of poor design. And if you follow this logic around flow, you will immediately have tools that are better and much more transparent and much more enjoyable for people to use. So I highly encourage you to keep that in mind. Now, on that note, I already told you that it's important to keep the assumptions up front. It's very helpful to keep the assumptions up front because people want to know the inputs before they look at the calculations. What decisions did you make so that I understand that when I see your financial statements? So it's very helpful. And by the way, in case you haven't seen this, there's a very common color convention. Black in a financial model, typically black is for calculations, whereas blue is for inputs and assumptions. That's a common industry standard. And that way your client knows in Excel which cells were the inputs that they can play with and which are the black ones. Those are the calculations that will change on their own. But I want to now show you a great tool to play with your assumptions and see what's happening to your calcs. Here's the problem. Let's go back to the model, okay? Remember I told you that in many models, people have inputs and assumptions scattered everywhere, and they do that. There's a reason people do that. It's because when they change an assumption, they want to immediately see what that does to some calculation underneath it. Change an assumption so I can quickly see what that does to the output. So I get it. Look at my model. In my instance, look what I'm going to do. Let's pretend, do you all see that the raw material is forecasted to be 226 per unit in 2026, okay? And that's an input, it's blue. What if your client called you up and said, you know what, that's too low. We've seen a huge increase. We are seeing a huge increase in costs. And so that cost needs to go up. Let's make it 250. Okay, so I'm going to make the raw material cost 250. Okay, great. There, I did it. But what did that do? What did that do to my net income? What did that do to my EBITDA? I don't know. How do I check? I have to go over, and I'll look at it. Let's go down. Here's the income statement. Let's see. Now, the EBITDA is this, and the net income is that. Okay, but I forgot what it used to be. Okay, let's go back again. I'm going to go back. Let's go back and make the raw material 226. Okay, now I'm going to go back again, back. You see what I'm doing? A lot of people don't like jumping back and forth. Change an assumption, and then go back to the model and see the answer. Change an assumption, go back and check what did it do to the answer. I get it. That can be frustrating. So as a result of that, I want to show you a very powerful tool in Excel that allows you to play with your assumptions, but still see what's happening to your calculations. It's a fantastic feature called the watch window. If you've never used it before, it lives here under the formulas menu, watch window. Now, if you've never met me before, you're going to quickly learn that I'm a big fan of keeping my hands on the keyboard. Minimize your mouse usage. Keep your hands on the keyboard. So if you want to access it with the keyboard, we're going to press Alt. The Alt key lights up letters on top of every menu. Letters. I'm going to say Alt, and then the letter data is A. Alt. Sorry, I want M for formulas, so I'm going to press Alt M. M is formulas, and then the watch window has a W. So I'm going to press W, Alt M W. Let's go to the model and do that. So in the model, I'm on my assumption sheet, and I'm going to press Alt M W, and it opens up this box. It opens up a box called, it opens up a box. I got to just resize it for a second here. I'm going to resize this. Okay. It opens up a box called the watch window. I'm sorry. It's just locked in my screen for a second. Let me try that one more time. Alt MW. It's probably going to pop back up right there. Okay. I want it to be, I'm going to get it floating in just a moment. But it is this great visibility now into my model. Look what it does. So if I now want to see what's happening deep inside my model, all I need to do is this. I'm going to say, let's add a watch. You see this? Click add watch. And it says, what do you want to watch? I'm going to go to the model sheet, and I'm going to say, let's select 3 years here of EBITDA and click add. Now you can see I've got my EBITDA right in the watch window here. Great. Now let's add another one. I'm going to say add. Let's add a second one. I'll go to the model sheet and add 3 years of net income and click add. The beauty of this feature is that I can be linking, I can grab numbers on one sheet, on a second sheet, on a third sheet, and all of them will be living and aggregated in this watch window box. And the nice thing is then that as I play with it, watch what happens now if I change an assumption. If I change my raw materials and my boss says, you know what, let's make it 250 and press enter. Take a look here at these values. Immediately, everything changes. So it's very quick. It's very easy. It allows you, I could pull in some NPVs, some DCF values, some credit ratios. All of them from lots of different places can live inside this box. Who's going to try this? Who's going to try this this feature? This is a really great feature in Excel. Who's going to try you? Give me a thumbs up. Udit says this is your first time looking at a model. Great. Well, I hope it makes sense. Udit, that all we're building, does it make sense then, Udit? All we're trying to do is build a forecast, right? All we're trying to do is take the historical values and forecast them into the future. So yes, a whole bunch of hands. I really hope you try this feature. It's very, very elegant. It's very simple. And what it allows you to do is change inputs and see what's happening from all over the place. So it allows you to keep your assumptions up front. Please use it and try it. It is a fabulous tool. And you will, I think, find it very, very helpful. If there's any comments or questions, please let me know. But I want you to try it. It's such a great, great feature. Now, the next thing that I want to show you then, let's go back to, and if there is any, if there's any comments or questions, just go right into the chat. I'm keeping my eye on, on the chat. So if you've got comments, questions, and if you want me to elaborate or slow down or anything like that, just please let me know. And I'm happy to do something again. But so let's go back to my notes. I told you today that I wanted to talk about flow and design. So we did that. Now you're seeing what the design of a model should feel like so that it creates a lot of confidence. And I told you that it's important to manage your assumption. Another huge takeaway from today is that when you build a strong Excel tool, a strong forecasting tool, all of your assumptions should be up front. All of them, because that way you can update them easily, and that way you can update them and it's easy to present them, to communicate them. But whenever someone gets frustrated that they can't see the answers, you tell them, well, what we're going to do is we're going to use Excel's watch window here, and the watch window allows you to change an assumption and instantly see what does that do to the answers. Okay. So again, really, really powerful to know how that works. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about in today's webinar, and I'm moving quick because I'm moving very quick because we don't have much time left. And I want to try and show you as much as I can. It is being recorded, and I believe the recording will be available to you after as well. Let's talk now about building a scenario page. You will recall I told you that every model, every good forecast model should have a scenario page. Every single model you ever build should have a scenario page because it allows you to run a base case, a best case, a worst case, maybe other cases. It allows you to manage uncertainty and volatility. And here's one thing I can promise you. One thing I can promise you is that we are living in a period of tremendous uncertainty. Actually, I'm just looking it over. Isfia has a question. Can someone show what it is showing in the watch window? Got it. Actually, okay, it's a great question that's just come through. Let me show that to you. Let's go back to the model. And I see with the question, it's a great question. So let's go back again. So the watch window is here. Formulas, I'll use my mouse. Formulas watch window. Let me pull it back up. There it is, right? You can see it. And there is my watch window here. Oops, wrong one. And what I want to do is, so what ISFI is saying is, yeah, it's great. It's great. You can pull your valuations and IRRs, but it's not obvious, right? I think what you're saying, it's not obvious that these are the EBITDAs and that these ones are the net incomes. How do I know? Well, to do that, we're going to use the name column, which I didn't show you yet, the name column. And so check this out. Let me close it again. So you might know that in Excel, every cell has a name. Every single cell has a name. This is EBITDA. The name of this cell is its address. Right now, this cell has a name. Here's the name box. And this cell's name is K92. But you can change that. If I go in there, let me just type in EBITDA. And there it is. So now I have J92. And then I've got this one's called EBITDA and L92. So this one has a name. I'll name this as well. At the bottom, I'll name net income. I'll name it net income. So now that cell is named net income. Watch what happens when I go back to my formula watch window and I open it up. You like that, Isfia? Is that better? Now you can see, these three are the EBITDAs. These ones are the net incomes. The ones underneath that are IRRs, NPVs. You can see whatever you like. And you can, does that make sense then? Now you can actually it's a little more helpful. You know exactly what you're looking at. So I hope that helps, and I hope that you all use that as well. Very, very powerful. Good. Hands up, thumbs up. Great. Perfect. Okay, let's take a look at this. As I just told you, every single model needs to have a scenario page to manage variability and uncertainty. Let's talk about how to build it. So I'm going to show you how to manage uncertainty in a model because every single model needs to deal with uncertainty. Here's why. Some assumptions are very easy to forecast. Some assumptions, they don't change much. As an example, if your client tells you that the tax rate is 25%, well, that's a good assumption that it will always be 25, at least for the next few years. And if it's going to change, then you'll know, you'll have some visibility. Okay. If you have an interest rate on fixed rate debt, that interest rate is fixed for the life of the debt. Some assumptions are easy to forecast. Other assumptions are very hard to forecast. They can change a lot. They can be unpredictable, like exchange rates, commodity prices, economic variables. Let's see here. Oh, look at that. Thank you. I see Alan. Eagle Eye Alan gets bonus points. Alan is pointed out. Thank you, Alan, that I wrote won't. How do you know I didn't do that on purpose? You're right, Alan. I wouldn't say they won't change. So thank you. I appreciate that. Do you know how many people have seen that, Alan, and probably never noticed it? You have a great eye, and that is impressive. Thank you. Appreciate it. So they won't change much, but some assumptions, right, Alan, will change. Some assumptions change a lot. Some assumptions like exchange rates, commodity prices, inflation, revenue, those things can change every day without any notice. So for the hard assumptions, for the hard variables, We want to have multiple options, multiple cases. Oh, Alan, look at that. I wonder if Alan caught this one before I did. I've just, so now I'm looking at this because I know Alan's watching. I got Alan. No, that is multiple. I had a little, is that okay, Alan? I'm multiple. There we go. Whew. I gotta be careful here now. Alan's on the scene. Alan, you should be an investment banker if you're not already. I'm impressed, but that is great. It is so, and I'm joking, but having a good eye for detail is one of the most important things that anyone can do if you're working in finance and accounting. So, good catch. So, yes, the hard variables, it's important to have multiple options, multiple cases, because you're not sure what the inflation will be. So, every single model you ever build should have a scenario page, and they're so important. We call them the key drivers. These are the key drivers. And there are three steps to build a key drivers, the scenarios page in a model. Let me show these to you, and then I'm going to build them. Okay. Then I'm going to do it in the model so you can see what's going on. First of all, you're going to enter the assumptions in a large rectangle. You're going to see in a moment there are large rectangles for the key drivers. The second thing you're going to do is enter the number 1 in a blank cell as a switch. You need a switch cell, so you're going to enter the number 1 as your switch. And then finally, you're going to use a formula, a function, like a lookup function of some sort to run it. Okay, what does that all mean? Let's go take a look at the model. So this is my scenario page, and I decided to have 3 variables. There's a variable for cost inflation, one for sales prices, and one for sales volumes. Why? Because these are variables that could move around. They could change a lot. So I want to have more than one case. So let's look at the cost inflation. Do you notice that there's a large rectangle? Each of them has one large box. And this box, you'll notice that the numbers are blue. So I'll tell you, this is always step 1. Step 1 is to build the large rectangle. And these are the inputs. And that's why they are blue. Right? So these are your assumptions. These are your assumptions for cost inflation for the base, the best, the worst. Now, how did you decide? How do you determine the values to use? Well, it's not your job. It's not your job to decide what the inflation forecast should be. It's your job to recognize that this is a critical variable. How do you decide what inflation should be? I don't know. Do some research. Get an RBC research report or a TD Bank research report or a JP Morgan research report. Talk to your client. Talk to your boss. And by doing research and talking to people, you will come up with some ideas for the variables, and your whole team will have to agree on them with you. But your job is to kind of talk and figure out what people want the values to be as the modeler. So step 1 is to populate the cases as blue assumptions. Let me move this for a second. The second step is to go to a blank cell. This is a blank cell, and enter the number 1. You see, I just typed in, this is the number 1 entered into a cell. It is my switch. I just typed it into a cell. That's fine. That's step 2. And finally, in step 3, we're going to run the live case. In this skinny row, the skinny row contains the live case. And you notice the live case, these numbers are black, which means they are formulas. This skinny row is black numbers. They are formulas. And so if they are formulas, what formula did I want to use here? Well, there's lots of options. A very common option is an if statement. It's not the best. It's not the nicest, but many people will use a simple if, and they'll say if, watch this, if the switch is equal to a 1, then grab the base. Otherwise, now you need another if. Otherwise, if the switch is a 2, then get the best. Otherwise, get the worst. This is called a nested if statement. Does anybody know how many times Excel allows you to put an if inside an if inside an if? How many times can you nest? What's a guess? Come on, take a guess. Be brave. Go to the chat. What do you think? What do you think Excel allows you to do? I like your answers. Someone said 15, 3, 10. So those would be good answers. I would be comfortable, right, Catherine? Catherine says 4, 7. Those would be good options. But actually, and a few years ago, Ahmad, you guessed correct. A few years ago, you were allowed to put 7 ifs together. But someone at Microsoft decided about 5 years ago that we should have more nested ifs. And now, believe it or not, you are allowed to have up to 64. I just typed it in 64. It's insane. I hope you never see 64 nested if statements. It's crazy. It would take up the whole screen. They get long, they get clunky, they're hard to follow, they're filled with mistakes. I encourage you not to have a lot of nested ifs. It's not optimal. Yes, I agree with you. Scary face. It's not ideal. So what's a better option? I'm showing these to you because people do this all the time. There's a much better option. And what I like, check this one out. My favorite option is Excel's choose function. Why? Because it's so simple, because it's so easy, because you can never get confused with it. The choose function simply says, hey, where's the switch? There's the switch. And then after you give it the switch, it says, well, where are the choices? Where are the options? First, look at the switch. And then what are the options? The options are the base, the best, and the worst. That's it. When there's a 1, when the switch has a 1, the choose function will return the next item in the formula. If you put a 2 in the switch, if there's a 2 in here, the choose function now lifts up the second item in the formula. It goes based on the way you type them in, right? So simple. You can never make it more complicated, and that's the beauty of it. It's very easy to understand. Clients love it because they understand it. Who's going to try, if you've never used this before, who's going to try using a choose function in some of your Excel files? Give me a hands up or a thumbs up if you think you will try. Oh, I got some hearts. Isn't that nice? I love getting the hearts. Yeah, it's a great tool. I have more than hearts and thumbs. Great. Please, please use it. It's so easy, and you're going to find that people have a lot of confidence in your file when you use simple tools. Now, you could also use, you could also, there are other functions you could use. You could use an XLOOKUP. You could use a VLOOKUP. You could use an index. You could use an offset. There are lots and lots of ways in Excel to do this, but my preference, because of how simple it is a very simple choose function. So keep it in mind. There's no perfect answer. You can use different tools. The main message, though, is this. Please build a scenario page in every model. Build a scenario page in every model and show your cases, the base, best, and worst, and then use some sort of a simple function to run it. And I like using a choose because of how simple it is. Fine. Now, there's one more thing, though. Do you notice on the printed model, let's go back to the printed model here. In the printed model, why is it doing that? Why is it doing that? It's okay. In the printed model, you'll notice I don't show you. You're not seeing that number 1. I don't want my client or boss to see that number 1 in the cell. It doesn't mean anything. Having a number 1 there doesn't mean anything. What I like to include is a drop-down switch, a control mechanism, and it's this little guy here. This little thing it's not VBA. This is nothing complicated. This is a little drop down that also makes clients feel very confident because it makes the file feel like it feels like a piece of software, and they can play with it, base, best, worst. So I want to now show you, how do we build this? If you've never done one, I want to show you, how do you build a little nice control box right in your Excel? It's so easy. What I will first tell you is we like to build a switch, a little switch to control the scenario. And this switch is found on the developer menu. Do you see where I just went? The developer menu. However, many of you probably don't have the developer menu. That's because by default, the developer menu is off. It's off by default. So you need to turn it on once, only once ever. How do you turn on your developer menu? You'll go to the File menu, Options, Customize Ribbon. File, Options, Customize Ribbon. Watch. Let me do it. File menu, Options, And then from the options, I'm going to say customize the ribbon. And on the right-hand side, your Excel probably looks like this. It's probably off. So you have to turn it on. And when you turn it on, it'll always stay on, and it is the developer menu here. So it's very important to know where it is, because once you got it, what I can do is click developer and then insert. You see what I'm doing? It says insert controls. So I'm going to insert, and now I have a bunch of choices. I like using the one that's called the combo box, the second one here, combo box. And the combo box gives me a little plus sign, a little cursor, a little crosshair. And I can draw. This is a drawing tool, and I can draw a giant combo box right on my screen. All I did is I drew it. I'm going to show this to you twice, but let me finish it up. Watch what you do now. You draw it. Then you click on it. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go format this control. Do you see that? Let's format this control. So right click, format control. And it wants to know two things. It wants to know the input range and the cell link. Input range, cell link. What's the input range? The input range is the range of words. The range of words. These are the words. Where are the words that you want to see in the dropdown? That's the input range. The cell link means where's the switch? The actual switch. And I'm going to link on the switch cell. And that's it. And then you click OK. And it's very, very simple. And once you do that, you can open up the dropdown and you will see the three options. When you click on base, what it does is it puts the number 1 right into the cell. If I click on best, it puts the number 2 in the cell. And if I click on worst, it puts the number 3. So instead of your boss or your client typing in a 1, 2, 3 here, clicking the base puts a 1. Clicking the best puts a 2. And the worst puts a 3. Very simple. But I don't want my boss to see this number. My boss is going to screw this up. They're going to make a mess. So I don't want them to touch it. So what do? Once I build it, I grab it, I slide it around, and I cover it up. And I literally hide the number. And now my boss, you can play with it. You can size it, put it wherever you want. And now your boss will say, wow, that's fantastic. Look at this beautiful little control mechanism. And it gives people great confidence to play with your file and have it feel like it's a piece of software running the forecast. Who's going to try this? Give me a hand. I'd love to see a show of hands. Who's going to try using this? It is not a macro. It's not VBA. It's not going to screw up your model. It's just easy and simple, and clients love it. So it's a great, great tool that you can use to help you in your own model. So give it a shot. Great. So many thumbs and hands and hearts and ice cream cones. I love ice cream cones going up. That's awesome. Good. It's magical. Look at that. I love it. It is magical. I agree with you. It's magical, and it's easy too. It's simple. It's simple. And so I hope you're getting a good feel on what we're trying to do with the forecast is build clean, simple formulas. And so last, what I want to show you, and then we'll, and there's been a lot of comments and questions coming in to date. So far, I've taken them. I want to show you the last two things that we talked about. And those are these two ideas in model building. Those are these two ideas in model building, the ideas of repeat and link, and build it and link it. Key modeling ideas, right? These are the concepts of repeat and link, build it and link it. What does it mean? Repeat and link means always repeat your assumptions before using them in calculations. Always repeat your assumptions before you use them in formulas. What am I talking about? Let's go to the model. The assumptions are here. These are all, do you see all my assumptions are here on the screen? They are here. However, before I ever build a formula, I will repeat an assumption and repeat. And the reason I've repeated the cost inflation here is because I need it in the next row. And it allows me to build a very clean, simple formula. And on my sales volume, I'm going to repeat an assumption and repeat another assumption. We always like to repeat every single assumption first and then use it in a tiny formula. That keeps your formulas very, very manageable, very short, very clean. Repeat your assumptions and then use them, and you will end up with very, very simple elegant, easy to understand calculations. And then the very final comment is this: build it and link it. What this means is never build long formulas on the financial statements. Rather, build schedules. Rather, build schedules and then link them in. That's what we're going to do here. Don't build big formulas on your financial statements. Build schedules and then link them in. What am I talking about? So you saw on my model, this first section, we're forecasting the revenue of the company. I've got their sales prices. I've got a sales price forecast, a sales volume forecast, and then the revenue is just price times volume. Look how simple. Price times volume. Okay. And then I have a cost forecast. We're forecasting all the operating costs. Good. And that gets me down to the total cost for the company. Well, by the time I get to the income statement, look at this. There are no giant formulas. When I need to get the revenue on income statement, look what it is. It's a simple link. It's a simple link to the revenue schedule above. Build it and then link it. Build it and then link it. What about the operating costs? When I need the cost of goods sold, I don't want to build a big formula here. I link it to the bottom of the cost schedule. Build it, link it. Build it, link it. It is so simple. Question from: how do we repeat the assumption in the cell? To repeat an assumption, you literally put your cursor in a cell. You would literally put your cursor in a cell like this. I'm going to press equals. With the mouse, I'll just click on the assumption sheet and I'll find the one I want, click on it, and press enter. That's it. And the point is, first repeat everything and then build tiny formulas. And if you do that, you will have a very powerful, elegant model. Just before we wrap up here, as we said at the beginning, modeling is becoming more important than ever. AI tools are now building models, but I promise you, your boss is still going to ask you questions as if you built it. You are going to have to understand your models as well as if you built it by yourself. So you have to still know how to build it. You have to know how to check it, how to automate it. You have to know how to talk to your AI if you're using AI. So I strongly encourage you to elevate and build your modeling skills. It is a skill set that will help you for the rest of your life, even if you're using AI to help you build models. And for those of you that are interested, we have a beautiful online community, right? We've got a great online community at FMI. Let me open a sheet here. I'll show you. So first of all, at FMI, this is our website, and we've got a great partnership with Morgan, but we've got our website here. And anyone who joins one of our programs comes into this beautiful online FMI community. There are learning materials. We have candidates in more than 100 countries all over the world. There are learning materials. There's 60 videos that I created. These are videos on how to build up a model from scratch, step by step. We build up the Henderson model from scratch, step by step, and you learn how to build the revenues and the costs and all the depreciation and the income taxes and the working capital and the debt. And once you know how to build it up and you've practiced and practiced, then you can do some practice exams on a couple companies. And once you've built a couple practice exams, you are ready to sit the AFM exam and earn your accreditation. We also have lots and lots of webinars and webinar recordings. We are constantly bringing in guest speakers from all over the world to talk about really hot topics in the world of modeling and Excel. So all of this is in here for our candidates as well. So that's kind of what I wanted you to see. I see, Anis, if you want to come back, feel free to come on back and join us here as we wrap up. I see a question from Faraz. Is it preferable to put the schedules below the financial statements? Or to keep the schedules? Yeah, okay. So Faraz is saying, I love the question, Faraz. Faraz is saying, what's the right order of the sheet? You notice in my sheet, in my model, I have revenues, and then I have the cost schedule, and then I have the income statement, and then the cash flow, and then the balance sheet, and underneath. And then I have more what I call the supporting schedules. Then there's a depreciation schedule. a tax schedule, a working capital. There's no perfect answer, Faraz. There's no perfect answer. Some people like to put all the financial statements at the top and then all of the schedules underneath. Some people put the financial statements on a different sheet. Um, I like to have revenues and costs first because I call those the operating schedules. These explain to me how does the company actually operate, the revenues and the costs. Once I know that, I can start building my financial statements down to EBITDA. And then I use the financial schedules, the supporting schedules to get lines like depreciation. The client is always more interested in revenue and costs than depreciation, interest, income tax. These are important, but client usually wants to know them later. And so that's the order I find, but you can build it in whatever order you find will be helpful for you and your client and your boss. Okay, we're at the end of the session, at the end of time. I hope that this has been eye-opening. I hope you've got some new ideas and new tips to allow you to build a best-in-class model. We would love to see some of you in the FMI community to truly become an outstanding modeler. Invest in yourself to make sure that you can do this, because once you can do it for any company in the world. So thank you for your time. I hope to see some of you again at a future webinar. All the files will come your way. I'm not sure if Anis is still around, but if
Yes,
not,
Ian.
there.
Ian,
Okay.
thank you a
Well,
lot. Really, thank you so much for this taster session. I'm gonna call it because it opened the eyes on many features, on many aspects of the financial modeling, and it highlighted the importance of this topic nowadays. It gives a real competitive advantage in the market for any candidate or for any business professional. I'm pretty sure the attendees they have a lot of questions. That's why what we're gonna do, we're gonna connect to them one by one over
great.
an email that summarizes the information about the FMI, of course, about the program, about the
Great.
study tools, the study materials, and we're gonna summarize as well the details of the examination process as well. It's not that complicated, but it has some information that they should be aware of. So we're gonna put all of those details in an email, and we're gonna send them their way in the coming few days, so that they can be aware about them. And we're gonna contact them one by one in order
Amazing.
to see how we can support them. And hopefully, we're gonna see a lot of our attendees in our live online classes that we're going to announce soon. Because honestly, as a financial modeler, I was intrigued about many things and many aspects that you have covered. And for sure, attending the live online classes will be very beneficial for everyone. So I'm gonna wrap it like this by thanking everyone, thanking you especially for your time and for the precious information that you have put on the table. And hopefully we're gonna connect with everyone very, very, very soon. And again, thank you, Ian. I leave it for you to wrap it up.
Well, listen, thank you very much for hosting. We love our partnership with Morgan. I've gotten to know Fadi, your founder, and I look forward to more sessions and interacting with you in our partnership and the candidates. So thanks everyone for being here, and I'll let you close it off then. So Anis, thanks everybody. I look forward to being in touch. Happy modeling.